Welcome to Lakeshore Lanes. Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page, the 12th annual Keith Yonan Memorial Tournament. Lots of great bowling out here today, Rhino.
Boy, we got a heck of a matchup going on here, too. A lefty and a righty against each other. Both playing the lanes completely different. This is going to be a great matchup.
Bowling on the Audubon pattern. These kids are going to have to adjust. It's a tough pattern out there.
It's a tough pattern, and you've also had a lot of traffic on the lane. We had a two-hander in the previous match for the right side, giving them a little bit of transition. And we had a lefty that was also knocked out throwing urethane, carrying that oil down the lane. Both lefties throwing urethane. It's going to be interesting to see how these lanes transition.
4 great matches coming your way, the righty versus the lefty. Who do you think Rhino's rooting for, huh? The lefty, right?
I'm rooting for a good match.
There we go. And that's coming up next year from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Why just watch the action when you can be part of the action at Sabre Laser Tag in Pewaukee? Take the challenge in one of 2 5,500 square foot arenas. Battle it out with family and friends using realistic military-style weapons. Come out and celebrate a birthday, bring out your employees or coworkers for team building, or take advantage of our specials running Monday through Thursday. Check us out on the web at sabertag.com.
It's been a long day of bowling to get to this point.
Let's see if Jerome can continue where he left off, throwing the last 4 to make it to this.
Opening shot, championship match, solid pocket strike.
And that was how every shot in the 10th frame looked to get to this moment. So he looks dialed in right now.
Keep that momentum and keep it rolling into this match. You got to stay calm. You got to stay cool. You got to stay collected. You know, being out here, well, not out here necessarily, but out on the PBA tour.
Absolutely. Going light, leaving the 2-pin. Austin looked a little shaky there towards the end of the game. He threw a 7-bagger to basically put himself in cruise control to make it to this final match. Looked a little shaky in the 9th and 10th, and a little bit so there as well.
Well, you turn on the TV lights, the cameras start rolling, we go live, and, you know.
Absolutely. I actually had a parent ask me in the Q&A today, how do you handle pressure? And I said, well, that's a great question because, you know, there was times throughout my career it was easy. And then all of a sudden I had no 9 stretch on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And that anxiety got a little worse, a little worse, and a little worse. And
yeah,
so
each and every time. Oh, 0-3. Okay, I'll get the next one. 0-4. Oh, no.
Yeah.
0-5. And then up to 9. Oh, my
absolutely.
gosh.
So the answer to the question inevitably was meditation, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes. That helped me get over the hump in the U.S. Open.
A break there for Austin Est, the 17-year-old out of Sun Prairie. The double bounce there as he releases.
Yeah, we saw that maybe 3 shots in his previous match where the double bounce came out of nowhere. I don't know if he's battling a little bit of sweaty hands. You know, a lot of times that happens.
Sure. Really? Okay.
Moments.
Dropping the ball.
Yeah. Maybe a little nervous tension, trying to force it rather than just letting it happen.
18-year-old Jeremy Hodson, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. What a break there. Wow.
Wow. Folks,
and he knew it.
Those hits are the ones that scare you. I see Jacob Buttriff do that sometimes, and it's, oh boy, look out. Great break there. And you could see it was a little bit left off of his hand, but it caught a little bit of that carry down that him and the other left-hander in the previous match had created. And so look out for that.
And taking his time, recollecting himself. You know, that's part of the battle out here. You know, like we were talking with Austin, you know, you get nervous with the TV lights. You gotta stay focused.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you could run into some trouble here. 3rd frame.
And just exactly what you want to do. You know, you don't get breaks very often, and when you do, you have to take advantage of them. And that was just as pure as the driven snow right there. Great shot.
Solid pocket strike there as we check out the replay. Jerome Hudson. Oh, 18 years old. You talk about Jake Buttroff earlier, who's in his early 20s. Man, the youth in bowling, great.
Oh
We
my
got a
goodness.
great future for our sport. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
What a bad break there. Nothing really looked bad about that. A lot of times it's just a pinch firm when that happens. The ball goes a little too far down the lane, creating a little too much entry angle. Nevertheless, a bad break, one of the worst in bowling.
We have yet to have a 7-10 converted here on our telecast. Today could be.
Oh,
Ooh.
that
Today
was
was
an awful good
almost
effort.
the day. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and you mentioned how strong the youth are. It's just incredible, you know, not only getting to watch the high schoolers here in this center, but going over to the college center.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh, yeah.
The talent pool is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing to see, and it's awesome for the sport. I think,
Right.
you know, our future is very, very bright.
And even more competitive.
And very, yeah.
Yeah.
I better get that 10 titles here pretty soon so I can get in the Hall of Fame and get out, huh?
There we go. Austin shaking it off. Gets a little break there, a light mixer strike.
Nevertheless, 2 crisp shots there.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
that's all you want to
absolutely.
do in this match is just make one good shot at a time.
So, Rhino, are you saying that the bowling biological clock is ticking for you?
Well, it sure feels that way. You know, if you look at bowling 10 years ago, a guy my age was just entering his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you just got enough experience underneath you. You know, your game has now ironed itself out to where you can compete for a long, long time, and you're only going to get better. Nowadays, a 34-year-old is almost ancient on the tour.
Right.
It's just the tour has changed so much to where young players, powerful players.
Oh,
These
yeah.
kids are all in the gym. What they can do to a bowling ball, and for a short, chubby guy like myself.
Come on.
It's hard not to be a little bit intimidated about that,
Right.
but it also is motivating.
The youth movement is a strong one. Some days I bet you it feels like that PBA 50 tour just can't get here soon enough, huh?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, golf's seeing the same thing. You see, you know, Phil Mickelson winning for the first time in 7 years, and Tiger even being inspired by that. And they're going back and forth
Right.
trying to hang on against these young kids.
Jeremy Hodson converting his spare. A bad break there is stone 8.
Yeah, that's tough to do with urethane balls.
Yeah,
It really is.
The high 5 gear 5th frame, $25 gift card up for grabs if Jeremy can strike here and get some great high 5 gear. A strike will do it. More at high5gear.com. Solid play all around.
Man, another great shot. He seems very dialed in on that left lane.
To make that adjustment after a stone 8, it's those little things we were talking about earlier. You got to find those adjustments, and Jeremy is.
There's no question.
$25 high 5 gear gift card for Jeremy, for Austin as well.
Hey, big double right there. I know it's early on in this game, but you don't want to get too far behind when your opponent's got the pocket dialed in. And as far as the adjustments, you're exactly right, because you almost have to be 2 steps ahead at all times. You know,
Right.
the minute you just wait for the lane to just hook a little
Yeah,
bit too much, and you big 4, and now you're 30 back, and
Right,
your opponents are 20
right.
back, and so you always have to be 1 step ahead. It's very much like a chess match.
17-year-old Austin Est. Oh, there he goes. He trips out the 10, but getting back into focus as we take a break here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. The 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Scratch Tournament continues. Back here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, as the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament continues here. Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page. Rhino, the commercial break. Friend or foe?
Boy, it works both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you got the nerves going in the first 5 frames, and you can't wait for that commercial break to come. And then there's other times where you've got the mojo going, and the last thing you want is to stop for a second.
Right.
But the key is to always stay loose. I don't sit down the whole time. Stay stretched out.
Yeah.
Be ready to go.
Did not
Great
seem to affect Jeremy here. Jeremy Hodson. Teammate versus teammate here. Both Jeremy and Austin, Sun Prairie Cardinals. As the high school season just getting underway here this past couple weeks ago. Our sport of bowling continues to grow.
On his good lane. Oh, and just flush. He split the 8-9 now. 5 straight shots on that lane.
That's a pretty ball there as we look at the replay. Solid pocket strike for Jeremy Hodson.
And you almost wonder if they're feeding off of each other's teammates right now. We saw it wasn't the highest scoring game to get here.
Right.
And now it seems like these guys have really dialed in. They don't want to lose to each other, even though they're teammates. It's bragging rights.
That was a pretty release. No double bounce there for Austin Est.
And if you're going to stuff the pocket like that, you never have to worry about a 7-10.
Right, no.
That is a great shot.
That's his not errant shot, but his only bad break in the 3rd frame, which he almost converted.
You could see that shot was just a pinch softer. He got that ball to read the mid lane a little bit harder. And that's the difference.
Making those tiny adjustments make all the difference. Est, 8th frame.
It's got to go.
Maybe a little too soft.
It just looked a little bit rushed to me. It's a big shot in the match, no doubt. He's got to feel the pressure from his opponent. Only missing 1 time so far. But not his best. To fill this up.
You can hope and pray that your opponent's going to give you a break and open that door, but there are no guarantees there.
Yeah, and you never want to have to rely on that.
Right. To win a match from sitting in the stands and doing the best that you can, that's no fun when it's out of your control.
Then again, it is kind of fun when it works in your favor, but you never, ever count on it.
Right. It's nice to win, but isn't it almost like not a sickening feeling, but it's like, wow, I'm winning this match after what I just threw? You'll take the title.
I'm taking home the hardware. I don't really care sometimes how it works. It goes both ways in this sport.
Ooh, that one needed to hurry up and did for Jeremy Hodson.
Just quality shot after quality shot. And that one was a little bit left again on that lane, but you could see, again, a little bit softer with his speed, and that ball read the right spot. Didn't see that carry down the lane, and a strike to show for it.
Great championship battle here. The 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. Lakeshore Lanes, a great host here. Van McNeil alongside Rhino Page.
And this shot will do it, folks, if you can strike here.
That looks good.
Ooh.
Stone 8 again.
You could see that ball just overread the mids, just a pinch. And you had to anticipate that was coming on that lane after he split the 8-9 so many shots. Of course, Jeremy just hoping that he can get one more shot out of that lane.
Similar situation in the 4th.
Nevertheless, hey, Mark, you're a winner.
Right, yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah. But crazier things have happened. You're in shot. You need 3 pins. You dump into the gutter. You never know what's going to happen out here.
Yep. No problems with the 8 pin.
Competitive, but supportive. You got to be with your teammate. They only make you better, like you say. Like you want to play to their level. And Austin is playing this hurry-up game. Unfortunately, it's too late for him.
Absolutely.
But
must-strike situation here.
Yeah, you put your best foot forward. Double bubble again.
And just firm. You could see he threw that at least a mile and a half an hour faster. We'll pretty much wrap things up.
Austin would like to give a shout-out to Kale on the first round loss. Dad, the coach. A runner-up in high school state. Singles, high school qualifying first back in 2016, and not the place you want to have a bad break happen in that foundation ninth frame.
Hey, he's a young player. He's going to be around for a long time, folks.
Oh, he's coming for you. You know that, Rhino, right? All these kids you're seeing today. Buckle up.
I said the same thing about A.J. Johnson about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, right. and A.J. Johnson was here about 3 or 4 years ago as
Marshall Kent.
Yeah,
same thing,
yeah, it's tearing up the regions back in the day, and then out on the tour now. So Austin having a little bit of fun with his teammate.
And it's so great to see a great tournament director.
Yeah,
So we
and
have
Keith
here with
Yonan,
Keith.
absolutely.
You know, always awesome to see tournament directors put together such great events for the youth. They're very, very important.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There we go.
Just have something to go home and smile about if he's a little upset about that loss, but he doesn't seem too phased by it. Great bowling performance this weekend.
Right. Lots of bowling out here. It's been a grind. I would equate it to what you go through out on the tour, but that's a week long. Here we've packed it into a weekend, so yeah.
Maybe a little more like an extra frame event.
There you
type
go.
deal,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The sprint.
213 for Austin Est. And a victory lap for Jeremy Hudson.
And you got to love Jeremy. What other interests do you like outside of bowling? And he says, what is life without bowling? Now, he's left-handed, and he has that quote, I like this kid.
Oh, well, yeah, come on. Solid pocket strike. Uh-oh. He's grabbing it. As we congratulate Jeremy Hudson as he wraps up his bowling here in the 10th frame. We'll recap it here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, as the Keith Yonan Memorial Tournament continues next on Spectrum Sports.
Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com. Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page as we make way for the high school girls championship. I thought that boys match was good, 258, 213. Buckle up here. This will be a good one.
And Caitlin going a little bit high to start the match. Seemed in the semifinals, both girls started a little bit slow, a little nervous, and really worked their way into the game, finishing strong, 222 and a 215 to get here. Seems to me the key is going to be the right lane. Who can get the right lane down? It seems very tight down lane, a little bit firm in ball speed, leaves buckets, even misses a head pin. In the left lane, as you can see, starting to hook a little bit more.
Caitlin converts her spare. You know, it's amazing. You know, we've been talking through the boys match and through this girls match here, and just by walking into a center, the things that you can read from the lane It's those little things here, and the difference between the right lane and the left lane here. Like you said, the right lane's a little tighter here for the girls as we check out Samantha Sturinsky's opening shot.
And there it is, just tighter down lane on lane 4. Part of this is ball speed. Ball speed's incredibly important. However, we're on a very high friction surface, and there's been a lot of games bowled on it. So they're starting to hook earlier and earlier and earlier. So the girls are getting a little bit scared, I think, to soften up and give the ball speed what it needs, especially on this right lane.
Already been through the boys' championship and qualifying match here. That transition only going to get worse here as Sam converts her spare.
It's very difficult as a player when you have the right lane that tight and the left lane hooking more. You just have to be able to take one frame at a time and dissect just that lane and not let it carry over into your second shot, on the left lane.
Right, but then you're thinking about, I got to do something different on the left lane than the right lane. Sometimes it's a different arsenal, different piece, different ball.
Yeah.
That can do it here. Let's see what Sam does here on her opening shot on the left frame. Needed to hurry.
Again, going high, and it goes back to, okay, the right lane's tighter. I got to get softer. I got to get my ball to read it, right? And you get that thought in your head, and then you go to the left lane, which hooks a lot more. And if you have any remnants of that thought of I need to stay softer here, you're going to see it really hook on that left lane. Oh boy.
Oh boy, he's right. Like they started slow in that first match. And Samantha opening the door early for Caitlin.
And Caitlin's got to be licking her chops. Anytime your opponent gives you a break like that, just missing a spare, that just empowers you when you get up to throw that next frame.
Yeah, but that early in the game, you don't want to get too excited. You want to kind of stay even keel. You got 8 more frames to go.
Right. No, there's no doubt about that. But those are free pins being given to you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Certainly empowering early on.
18-year-old Caitlin Mertens out of Racine, Wisconsin. And a tale of two lanes between the right and left.
Straight through it, down lane. A lot of people would say, well, what would you do in this situation? It's very hard to answer that, not throwing the ball and feeling the lane
being
myself.
In that moment.
But this is almost looking like we're getting to a point of you might have to throw a different ball in each one.
Yeah, we've seen that before on these telecasts, definitely out on the Pro Tour as well. That's a whole nother set of thinking and mentality, and you got to keep track of more, as I thought Caitlin was going to maybe convert that, but returns the favor, so.
I actually feel like when I have to throw a different ball on each lane, I focus more.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to be able to just see them that much more independently different.
It's not more of a burden. It tunes you up more. Huh?
Yeah, actually, I remember when the dual patterns came out, where we bowled on a short pattern on the left lane and the long pattern on the right lane. I bowled some of my best blocks like that because it just made me work that much harder. And it just brought me to a different level. I think a lot of times, sometimes you get laid back. You get a good look, and then all of a sudden you just relax.
Sure. I'm there all day.
Every time.
But just like in any sport, you never want to get complacent because transition, you got to be able to adjust out there.
Absolutely.
Caitlin made a move a little bit on the left lane.
Made a move.
Hug a strike.
Tripped the 4-pin. Might need to make a little more of a move.
18-year-old Samantha Sturinsky out of Manawa, Wisconsin.
That's got a hook. There it is. She could tell right off her hand. Quite a bit of out of bounds built in on this Autobahn pattern. What I mean by that is basically take the gutter and move it into the first arrow, and it might as well be the gutter. You're not going to hit the pocket there.
Right. Just going to keep on sliding. Between that, hitting your mark, having the right piece of equipment in your hand, it's all going to come together here.
And this is a scary spare no matter what with that sleeper pin.
Samantha converts.
converted nicely. I always hated leaving that spare in
Yeah.
the U.S. Open because there were so many ways to miss it.
Right, yeah.
You know?
And coming off that U.S. Open, let's talk about that. 2017 was quite the year for you, sir.
Yeah, I had a good finish. Made a lot of changes in my game.
Yeah.
Changed the ball roll up some. I've spent some time in the gym, lost some weight.
Really? All right.
And really going to work hard on it after this April swing again. I feel like I got to get another 15 pounds off and then back in the gym to really keep up with these young guys.
Wow, okay. So that is your answer to the youth that are coming down, breathing down our throats as we see a solid pocket strike from Samantha Sturinsky.
And part of that also is I'm going to Columbus, Ohio on Wednesday next week to work with my coach for 2 days, and we're going to change my timing some.
So when you go through something like that, you got to unlearn all of those bad habits that you've been collecting for decades. How do you deal with something like that? You just have to go in with a clean head? Or?
I mean, I think you just simplify because right now I've thrown so many balls. I've bowled for 30 years now that there's not much deprogramming that needs to happen. It's more of, all right, what key what do I have to key on?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And what's going to take my timing where it needs to be. It's a little bit too late right now, which caused my upper body to get involved. Never a good thing.
Okay.
And I've always been a little later. It's something that my coach and I have talked about a lot, but it never was harmful to me. Now I'm getting a little bit older, things are changing a little bit, and now it is starting to affect my game, even if it's a shot or two every game.
But working out, whereas you probably weren't working out before, right? Maybe a little bit? Because working out and building muscle and getting lean, that could easily throw off timing on your approach, your swing.
There's no doubt about it. When I went on that workout session late in last year, I dropped the weight that I wanted to, started feeling really good. There was one problem. I didn't realize that it changed my swing because I gotten a little more broad.
Yeah.
All of a sudden there was a loop in my swing. And every other shot I'd miss 5 left, and I thought, what is going on?
Right.
And so that's why I haven't been in the gym since February, because I don't want to drop too much right now with the Masters coming in the week.
Gotcha. Yeah, right.
And we're going to go ahead and hold off until after that, and then really hit it hard in that 2 months off before the next tournament starts.
Different approach to here. A bowler hitting the gym and working out. That's I guess we would attribute that to maybe Tiger Woods, who kind of changed the game of golf a little bit with that powerful swing that he has on his drive.
That and the young kids that are coming out, they are so strong. But I'll be honest, I played baseball growing up, and I worked out every day, and I hated it, but it was part of the deal.
Yeah.
And when I decided to take a step away from baseball, I thought, sweet, I don't have to work out anymore. And I have gone on cruise control for far too long, and it has caught up.
Complacency. Don't get complacent.
Yeah, maybe that. I just really don't like working out.
Now, let's rewind even further back to this age. Baseball, t-ball, all that stuff back growing up. When did you get involved with bowling? Full-fledged, this is what I'm going to do.
I was full-fledged out of the gate.
Yeah.
4 years old, 30 years ago.
30 years.
And I knew I wanted to be a pro. I taped every telecast. I watched it over and over and over and over, and I tried to bowl like them with my play set.
Yeah.
And anytime I could get my parents to take me to the bowling center, I was there. I just loved it.
Sounds very familiar. Very similar story, as I would imagine a lot of bowlers' stories are that way. Had aspirations of joining the PBA Tour. Mom and Dad were like, come on, let's be realistic, son.
Yeah.
And I fulfilled that dream in 2013 in the PBA Summer Swing, which is a great outing and a great experience. But if you want to go out there and compete amongst the world's best, you're going to need to work out. Not just physically, on your game as well. So,
absolutely.
More with Rhino Page here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. As we take a break, the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament continues next year on Spectrum Sports. Back at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, as the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament continues here. Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page, the girls' high school championship. Boys had their way, 258, 213. The girls here, man, we're all over the board. Roller coaster like here as we open up the 6th frame with Caitlin Mertens.
It's funny, it's been the exact opposite all tournament. The girls have actually been higher scoring for the most part. But we also have to keep in mind there's been 10 games bowled on this pair, plus 2 10-minute practice sessions. The girls aren't used to seeing that kind of transition.
Yeah. So really 10 minutes of practice can cause that much transition even before a match.
Absolutely. Oh, and again, we didn't have a re-oiled in between the men's match and the women's matches. So, but 10 minutes, you'd be amazed at what you could do to a lane in 10 minutes. Especially with a nice little handy-dandy 500 grip pad, you know? But as we said before this match, this right lane is going to be the lane to beat.
Right. A lot tighter down lane versus the left lane, and that could create some problems for the spoiler. And it looks like Caitlin may be going through some of those headaches right now. Different approach on the left lane versus the right lane.
Yeah, she went light in the second frame, leaving the 2-4-10, and now again light 2-4-8-10 in the 6th frame. Let's see if she can put that aside and make a good pitch here.
7th frame for Mertens. See if she bounces back. There we go. Solid. Pocket strike for Caitlin.
Great shot.
So on top of Rhino, the great 2017 and the U.S. Open title, Storm going great there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually celebrating my 10th year with Storm this year.
No way. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's a huge accolade.
Very excited about that. Such a great pleasure to be a part of an awesome staff. And they've treated me like family from the beginning. Very thankful for them.
So we see Samantha go straight through the head here. Looks a little lost.
She looked like she liked that shot. And you could tell her adjustment. She closed her angles down a little bit, got that one a little more in, but thought that would sit there. And there's that early hook. And again, you know, the boys, when they were practicing, they were playing right in that zone. So that's what's tough for these girls right now. They're going to have to make a big jump over the top to get around their traffic.
Opening the door for each other yet again here. Just when you think the match is going to go one way.
Boy, you never know in this sport. Round objects hitting round objects.
Samantha Strzinski, the 18-year-old out of Manawa, Wisconsin, her home center. Kegler's Bowling Center. Gets a break there. Light mixer goes. And cracking a little bit of a smile there.
And just yet another key shot coming up here for Caitlin. She's on this right lane. Turn it into a double and really put some heat on.
State singles champion earlier this year. The 18-year-old out of Racine, Wisconsin. Oh, it looks like she's stuck at the approach on that one. Just saw her topple over.
That actually looked to me like she made a little move in.
Yeah.
And the ball actually hooked earlier. Again, a byproduct of the men's traffic. They were playing a zone and a half left of where the women are playing right now. And so they think they're moving into a part of the lane with a little more oil in it, and it's actually not the case. We talk about this on the PBA Tour all the time for the right-handers. When they make their moves, they have to make huge moves. And when I mean huge, I'm talking 12, 14, 16 boards at times.
Oh, gosh.
Especially for the guys that want to stay outside longer than the rest of the field.
Sure.
They just have to always watch where the majority of the traffic is, and that helps them make their adjustment. Unfortunately, these girls don't have that luxury of watching the traffic.
Right. Sometimes you run out of lane, and then you're lofting it over the gutter cap, like your name your two-handers or your power players that can loft it over the gutter cap when you run out of lane.
Absolutely. And that's crazy what I've seen some of them do. You're halfway down the lane on the fly. Oh, boy.
Caitlin at a point. What do I have to do?
Yeah,
Left lane gets you, right lane gets you.
She really didn't make 2 very bad shots there. It's just, again, just fighting the early friction. And another tough part about it is it's hard to make that big move left when you don't have rev rate that you can rely on.
Right.
Right?
Right, yeah.
These girls are certainly powerful, but they're not two-handers. They're not what we saw, on the more on the men's side. And with back-to-back opens there, Caitlin can finish with 164, which means Sammy can just mark here, take home the title, lock it up.
Crazier things have happened.
Have to get by this right lane first.
It's a hurry.
There's that out of bounds
Just
again.
sat there, just like you said. When you think you're throwing it into one portion of the lane, that's not the case.
It's so terrifying when you know you can miss one to the right, miss the head pin, miss one to the left, and split. It's terrifying. And one thing that I'll give you guys some advice at home. That's when you know you're not doing it right. You got to get out of there.
Yeah.
You got, whether it's a different ball, whether it's moving, do something different because if you're that trapped, it tightens your swing. You never feel free.
Well, and that's the difference too, Rhino, between a sport or challenge pattern, bowling on the World Bowling Tour's Autobahn pattern, which is a little bit more challenging than what a league bowler, amateur bowler would see in a house shot. So
absolutely.
So you have to keep that in mind as well. If you have the chance, ask your local bowling center to throw out a sport shot, a challenge shot. PBA.com has all the breakdowns there. The World Bowling Tour has all their patterns. Got to challenge yourself out here.
Absolutely.
You can be a house hack. Great, throwing 250s all day.
Oh, what a great shot there to lock it up.
Or you can cash in and throw a solid pocket strike like Samantha just did there in the 10th frame.
And I wonder if Samantha had the choice of what lane to start on. Because finishing on that left lane was smart.
Yeah. Lane that is playing into both bowlers' favors. Nobody likes that right lane.
And one thing I'll add about these oil patterns, even the challenge patterns, there's always some room out there. Okay?
Right.
Unless the lane is 39 feet flat. The oil, like the old U.S. Open. There's always some room out there somewhere. You just have to look outside the box. You can't camp out on the big dot and throw it at second arrow. It just doesn't work that way.
No. And then transition from game 1 to game 2. By game 3, you're throwing on something else completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The game is always changing, not only game to game, but block to block.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Strzinski, Team State runner-up, 2016, earlier this year as well. And she gives the handshake and has a little laugh with her family after the fact. There's the smile. Well, it's business. It's business out there on the lane.
Absolutely. And when you're going up against state champion,
Right.
you got to feel a little bit of pressure. And when you do take the state champion down, man, does that have to feel good, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in the case of Miss Mertens here, a suggestion to those young bowlers that may be struggling, like Caitlin is out here, you don't want to give up, right? You want to continue to work at your craft, work at the game. Get a coach, right?
Absolutely. The one thing I always tell people, every single event you bowl, doesn't matter how bad you perform, there's always stuff to be learned there. And so even though Caitlin had a great tournament, I'm sure she's going to take a couple things out of this final match, and maybe she'll scratch her head and think about it for a while,
right?
Reflect on it. But I would imagine we're going to see her a lot more.
Rhino Page, PBA professional, heeding some great advice. Visit him at rhinopage.com. Storm bowling as well as Caitlin wraps up her match here. We'll take it to break. Samantha Strzinski, 178. Caitlin Mertens, 151. More from Sheboygan in the Sean Yonan Memorial Classic here on Spectrum Sports.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Bluemont Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page. We've seen the high school boys and girls. Now time for the collegiate brackets. Girls go first here, Rhino.
Well, here come the fireworks. And nothing against the high schoolers, but when you get into that college rank and you get that coaching and you're practicing every day with that team, you get a lot better, a lot faster.
A quicker pace, much more excitement behind the college sport, and coming out the gate swinging. Solid pocket strike for Brittany Breedlove.
Very nice shot, and I love what these girls are doing with their selection of equipment here. Both of them throwing stronger bowling balls, but what we would call slower, meaning not too responsive to friction. And what we've seen with these last two matches, obviously the lanes transition quite a bit, but they've gotten a little bit wet-dry, right? So a little dry to the right, a little oily to the end, and they're using their stronger balls to blend that out to give them a little more room for error.
As we see Kayla Crawford out of Silvis, Illinois. Straight through the head in her opening shot here.
And it's interesting. I think we've only seen maybe 2 shots go through the face on the right lane.
Yeah.
And you can see these girls are playing further in. They're playing crossing around 15, the arrows. So they're moving in more and more.
As transition, this is game number 2-4-6. Yeah. On this championship pair, we've had the girls, the boys high school, 2 games each there. It brought you the championship match. Game number 5.
16.
6. Yeah.
16.
Oh, 16
games.
overall.
Yes,
yeah,
overall.
You're right.
Plus 30 minutes now of total practice time.
Every minute counts out here when you're talking transition and this Audubon oil pattern.
You can see Kayla going through the facer. That's back-to-back shots. And the one thing I notice is her ball speed is significantly lower than her opponents.
Right.
And when you have these stronger bowling balls, the one thing that you're going to really fight more than anything is the front part of the lane. So you need to use that speed to really get it through the front.
There's something to say about control as well, but you gotta find your happy medium out here on a pattern like this.
Absolutely. And still be halfway comfortable.
Right.
These are all easier said than done, folks.
Of course, everything we say here in the booth is, but Kayla not happy, missing that 10-pin, opening the door for Miss Breedlove. The Battle of Illinois, what started as really Sheboygan regional area tournament has blossomed throughout the region now into the Midwest. We've had bowlers from St. Louis, Kansas City, and a Battle of Illinois bowlers here in Oswego, Illinois, and Silvis, Illinois, as Brittany runs into some trouble here on the right lane.
Yeah, and I believe they had 96 entries this morning for the high schoolers, and I'm not sure the exact number for the college players, but I would guess there was at least 60 to 80 players over there, and 2 different centers. And folks, this is a 24-lane center
on
both sides. This place was packed this morning. Very cool to see this tournament that has grown as much as it has.
In its 13th year here, and between, as you were mentioning, Rhino, not only here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, but just down the street, another house, Maple Lanes, where our collegiate division we're battling out there. We bring the television finals here at Lakeshore Lanes, but the bowling is strong here in this region.
No question about it. And just throwing an extra little challenge out for these college players, coming to a completely different center than what they bowled in to qualify to get here.
Right.
Different surface, different everything.
got to find a way to adjust. That's what the professionals do on the tour. Mr. Page here included.
This is why we always talk about tunnel vision and staying away from it at all costs. A nice trip of the 4-pin there. All right.
Brittany Breedlove, 19-year-old out of Oswego, Illinois. Bowls out of Parkside Lanes. Kayla out of Silvis, Illinois. She bowls out of Highland Park Bowl and Leisure Lanes down in the Chicagoland area. 25 scholarship tours.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely. See if she can bounce back here. Third frame, right lane. A little bit smoother.
Yeah, a little more speed there.
Yeah.
A little more in control. Really like her game. Simple but fundamentally sound. Great ball roll. And she also, the one thing I noticed is does not allow her right shoulder to pass her left shoulder.
Huh.
Hugely important as the shoulders control the direction of the bowling ball.
Right. Something to pay attention to. You can pick up little tips and tricks just by watching bowlers, whether it be on a collegiate level like we are here today or the professionals too. What you were alluding to earlier, I did it as well. We would record the Saturday afternoon ABC telecast and try to mimic or, create what your favorite bowler was trying, that style, whether it be a Mark Roth or a long slide like a Parker Bowen or a Marshall Holman. You try to mimic that as a bowler yourself. That's how you find your way out here.
Absolutely. I'll never forget, I believe it was 1996. Parker Bowen was always one of my favorites. And he made back-to-back shows, one in both. But one show he played the gutter. The other show he played fourth hair.
Oh, gosh.
Now, as a young player at the time, 13 years old, I'm thinking to myself, well, I never played the gutter a day in my life. And I know for a fact I never played fourth arrow. So if I ever want to be half as good as that, I had better become more versatile.
Yeah, you got to get out of your comfort zone.
And it's really what opened my brain to just get out of that tunnel vision.
Yeah, that's sometimes good if you want to hyper-focus in a particular situation, whether it be a championship match like we're seeing here. But you get stuck in tunnel vision, you put those blinders on. That's not always a good thing.
Absolutely.
Solid pocket strike from Brittany Breedlove.
And who could forget the 1996 Touring Players Championship, my favorite match of all time. Mike Albee versus Parker Bowen in the arena final, going just strike after strike, playing them two completely different ways.
Yeah.
Albee with a slower, smoother, playing further in. Parker throwing it hard and firm up the gutter. And then that's when I learned, okay, you can maybe do both at any given time.
Right, yeah.
And so figuring out what works best for you is very important.
That was almost a changing of the guards, if you will, in that time, as a Mark Roth maybe was, or excuse me, a Mike Albee may have been towards the end of his career, and out come the new kids in a Parker Bowen III. So
yeah,
got to be able to adapt and adjust out here on the maple.
Really bad break there with that 4-9. Good shot again. That left lane. That's the hooking lane.
Right. In the last match with the high school girls, it was the right lane that started to tighten up. And now we're seeing those issues pop up here on the left lane as more hook has been created. But you want to get count. She does. She gets her pin.
The most important thing you could ever do when the conditions are this hard is play a little more defensively. You don't want to have a ball in your hand that's going to create too much angle to cause you to split every time you miss.
Yeah.
If I can just leave a makeable spare, pick up my mess, stay in the game, grind away, maybe catch a double, bowl my too low,
Sure.
that's a great score.
Yeah, but you don't want to abandon a ball after one errant shot. Or do you? Do you out here when you're battling for a title?
Well, on Brittany's side, I mean, she has 3 strikes, but she has 2 splits.
Yeah.
So early on, it's easy to look at that and go, well, that's high risk, high reward.
Right. But again, it's the tail of 2 lanes. One on the left lane, one on the right lane.
True.
So.
And one open on each lane.
Yeah,
so, it's at this point, you have to trust your instincts more than anything.
Kayla Crawford, the 21-year-old out of Silvis, Illinois, converts her 7-pin.
We'll see what she does here on the left lane. 300 games for Miss Crawford. Shout out to her parents, Craig and Lisa. Her #1 fan, Kira Maxson. Left lane.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was a ball change.
I know she was throwing the mix there for a little bit. Did make a change, huh? In her arsenal, the Phase 2, the Sherlock, the Mako, and the Code Red.
It looks like she started with a Phase 2 and then went to that Mako. Mako's got a little less cover on it to help it through the front part of the lane, but she's still battling in the front.
All right, we'll take a break here. More of the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. The collegiate girls continue to battle it out here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. You're watching Spectrum Sports. Back to it here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Lakeshore Lanes is the place. The 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. Watching our collegiate girls, Van McNeil, alongside PBA professional Rhino Page. Rhino, before the break, I know we got going on a lot of talking here. It's been great having you in the booth, but we're talking about Miss Crawford, Kayla, how she made that ball change just before the break. Some advice for our young bowlers, our house bowlers, league bowlers that may be watching. When it comes to picking out your arsenal, what are some things you want to look for, and particular to your game? I know this is a loaded question. We could probably talk hours on this, but a couple of tips as, we wrap up fall leagues here. You're coming into summer, you're going to have to re-up coming up next year.
Absolutely. And I always tell people, #1, when it comes to bowling balls, they're like golf clubs. They all serve a purpose in your bag. You don't want 3 drivers in your bag.
Well,
there's no sense in that.
Yeah.
But it's the most common problem I see where, everybody just asks for, I want the newest, best, strongest ball.
That's not
and
always
then I
the
look
answer.
at their bag and they have nothing but all strong balls. And they wonder why they're struggling in Game 3 of League, for example.
Sure.
Or maybe they're struggling in Game 2. And so the most important thing is with your 2 or 3 bowling balls that you're going to purchase, making sure they complement each other.
Okay.
Don't have them all loaded up to you. Have your driver, have your 3-wooder, have your
Sure.
7-iron, have your 9-iron, whatever way you want to look at it. Just make sure you have some variety so that when, let's just say, my ball that I'm going to use on the fresh in Game 1 goes away and it starts hooking too early, or it gets a little lazy and plaque tins,
Right.
I now have a ball to step down to that I can move a little left with, so to still get some more oil through the front to help it down, but it'll allow it to still kick down lane and get those tins out.
So not only planning frame by frame when you're out on the lanes, planning way ahead of that, your 2, 3 step. What are you going to do here once you can't use this ball anymore? Like
Yes.
you said, complement your arsenal to your game.
Absolutely. It's very easy to get confused with the amount of bowling balls that are out there. There's a lot of bowling
Right.
balls.
Yeah.
And one thing I can tell you for myself as a tour player, I have my arsenal that's out on tour on the trucks, and I've now worked on matching every one of those bowling balls at home so that I see the same shapes no matter
nice.
what.
Yeah.
So that it makes me even more sharp when I go out. And a great shot there on the right lane.
Kayla making that ball change, speak of the devil, and it paid off dividends for her.
And my guess from watching the first 2 matches here is if that ball worked on the right lane, she's probably going to have to make at least a 2 to 4 board move on the left lane as that lane is hooked more
Hooking
all day.
a lot more, right? We'll see how she plays it here. Still sticking with that same ball. Is that a Mako?
I believe that is a Mako,
That
and
is
it
the
looks
Mako,
pretty
yeah.
shiny.
So polished out a little bit. Light mixer strike. Go, she gets the break. That one almost got away from her.
It did, and I guarantee you she made that move. And again, when you have those stronger balls and you start to move left, it can get a little iffy sometimes. They don't create as much shape down lane, but they certainly do control the lane better. So now you have to worry about, as a player, do I sacrifice carry to know where my ball's going, or is that not going to be enough? Do I have to plan maybe in 2 frames to switch balls depending on what my opponent does.
Brittany Breedlove, 8th frame. Can't trip out that 10. She wanted it. Still hanging a little bit out there in the right lane.
Yeah, Brittany throwing the Sherlock, another Storm's strong balls, strong cover, asymmetrical core. Normally you wouldn't see that with this many games of play on the lanes. However, again, they're playing mini zones left of probably where they were playing this morning. So you have to look a little bit outside the box.
And at a different place, at a different house.
A different venue.
Over at Maple Lanes, just down the street here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
And over at Maple Lanes, I noticed this morning they have Pro-Anvil lanes. When I asked, it's one of the newer generations, so a little slicker surface. And on the complete flip side over here, AMF SPLs, one of the more higher friction surfaces. So, folks, that dramatically impacts ball motion.
And that knowledge just comes from being around the game for 3 decades, right? That's automatic now. We walk into a different center that is from our house that we normally bowl at. There's no way myself, included a league bowler, could pick out those little nuances.
Yeah.
Like that. That's amazing.
And ever since I was a kid, I've had a very photographic memory.
Okay.
I could tell you every center I've ever been to, what surface they had, what pin setters they had, everything. But I'm a nerd, okay? So I'm just going to call myself that.
Find out more about his nerdliness at rhinopage.com.
Important spare here. Spares here that gives her an opportunity to strike out in the 10th for 190. Her opponent, Kayla, can strike out for 204. So foundation frame, just make that single pin spare. And then you get to sit and wait, see what your opponent does. Never fun.
Brittany throwing that Sherlock, the Creed, the Code Red in her arsenal. Convert her spare. Trying to keep herself in this. Talking to herself, psyching herself up. And you see three single pins like that. What do you do?
With the scoring pace as it is, I keep trying to finagle it.
Yeah.
Maybe make it work. Maybe just take 9 spare and that's okay.
Right. But I know Brittany doesn't want to leave it in Kayla's hands.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
That looks good. That's got to hurry. Solid pocket strike.
Great shot.
Kayla Crawford.
I always say 3 9 spares in a row look better than 3 strikes scattered with 2 splits between them.
Yeah, but that says something else too. That you're close. You're almost there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've made some adjustments, but you gotta make a little bit more of an adjustment.
Yeah, and again, do you sacrifice making a move that may put split into play when you have the pocket controlled? And that's where this game becomes a game of strategy.
Gotta work out those pros and cons. 21-year-old Kayla Crawford.
This one here to seal the deal.
10th frame.
What a quality shot that was there. Even the weak 10. You can't be disappointed in that. That's everything you want to do in that 10th frame in that situation.
Kayla's interests outside of bowling, spending time with family and friends. A very big thank you to everyone who has supported her over the years, especially her parents and teammates. Everyone at Highland Park Bowl and Leisure Lanes.
All right, good spare there. One of the most important things when it comes to spare shooting is being able to put that first shot aside and just go, look, hey, I've shot thousands of 10 pins my entire life.
Right.
Just put that first shot aside. We'll think about it after I make the spare. Because anybody that gets up on that approach to shoot that spare that's still thinking about the first shot, it's less than 50-50.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
So move on.
Yeah.
Throw your shot. Think about it for a second. Move on.
Oh, and that fill ball was really important. 180. We have a potential tie here. Strike spare would put a 180 to 180 tie in play.
Brittany Breedlove, the 19-year-old out of Oswego, Illinois.
back-to-back Greater Iowa Scholarship Bowling Tour tournaments. She's a winner as well.
First order of business, got to get the first hit. And she's had more success on this lane than most that we've seen today.
Right. It's that rock that's in her hands that has found a way. Slow it down in the back end. Let's see if it pays off. That one kept going.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was a ball change. She went from that Sherlock, and she felt like she couldn't strike with that ball and went for the home run. It takes a lot of guts.
It's a big call. Unfortunately, did not pay off.
And listening to your instinct doesn't always pay off.
Yeah.
But it's always good to listen to your instinct, because your instinct gradually gets better and better and better and better and better. And the more you listen to it, the more confidence you have in yourself.
Again, making a decision, sticking with it.
Absolutely.
Got to have confidence out there on the lanes.
Nevertheless, a great tournament for Brittany. Very tough match here. Be interesting to see what's up next with the guys' match.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here. Hello from Brittany to her parents, Chris and Michelle, her little sister Lonnie, and her grandparents that are watching. And good luck to her sister. Oh, Bowling Dynasty, the Breedlove family. Sister's going to the bowling tournament in Michigan, so.
Very cool stuff.
We'll let Brittany wrap up here. We'll come back. We'll hand out the hardware and the checks. There's a solid pocket strike for Brittany Breedlove. Some good sportsmanship as well, and we've got more, Rhino. We'll talk to the winners here next as the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament continues here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. You're watching Spectrum Sports.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. Why just watch the action when you can be part of the action at Sabre Laser Tag in Pewaukee? Take the challenge in one of two 5,500 square foot arenas. Battle it out with family and friends using realistic military-style weapons. Come out and celebrate a birthday, bring out your employees or coworkers for team building, or take advantage of our specials running Monday through Thursday. Check us out on the web at sabertag.com.
Van McNeil alongside PBA professional Rhino Page, the Collegiate Boys Championship here at the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. This should be a good one, a knockdown, drag-out kind of fight we're about to see.
We are not lacking any power in this match.
Oh, no, not at all. Opening up with Josh Pates.
Great opening shot.
Here we go. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen.
Josh, middle of that last game, looked like he might not get there. Shot making kind of went out the window, and he finished very strong, and it looks like he's continuing that. You want to talk about power? Watch this guy. Holy Toledo.
McGuanago's Matt Hibbard. Look out. Boom. What did I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? Here we go.
Whew. I mean, that's up there with DJ Tackett. I mean, my gosh.
That's a lot of ball speed.
And a lot of rotation.
And even at this point, we've had 3 other championship matches here. Qualifying, these lanes are toasty. And these guys are throwing monster rev rate. But behind it, monster speed. As we see Matt Hibbard here. Look at the speed on his ball here. And dare I say that was not enough.
I tell you what, 19 games have been bowled on this pair, plus 40 minutes of practice. They are certainly toasty, and even with his ball speed, he's fighting a little bit of early friction. I mean, you can't tell him to throw it harder, right?
No. Well, you could, but
yeah.
I don't know if that's even feasible at this point. Baby split here in the second.
If he throws it any harder, it'll be faster than my spare ball. That's pretty impressive. Because my spare ball doesn't have 550 RPM.
No.
It's got about 50, not 550.
Josh Pate of the Pate Bowling Dynasty.
Sure.
Inner Grove Heights, Minnesota. 4 300 games for Josh here. Smooth, a little stutter step at the end of the approach there.
A little stutter step. And again, remember that right lane, even though they're burning up in the front part of the lane, meaning the oil is going away faster and faster, middle of the lane still tight on lane 4. You cannot take topography ever out of the question.
No, that has not gone away even through all the matches here. The right lane has been giving most of our bowlers some trouble. So.
Nevertheless, easy spare here. Hit the leading pin, move on. I'll tell you what, the Pate family, my goodness.
Right.
Talk about some good bowlers.
The bowling dynasty that is.
His brother, I believe, current member of Team USA. I've gotten to watch these guys bowl for a long time from Minnesota.
Yeah.
They used to have the bright color jerseys.
Okay.
So you could always notice them from across the building. But Josh, a really good kid. He's worked really hard, come a long way.
Don't know if he slowed up there or something was not right.
It's that left lane. The ball looked like it overread the middle of the lane a little bit too much. Again, I believe one of the girls from the last match said she actually contemplated throwing one ball on each lane.
Yeah, Brittany.
Brittany, yes.
Brittany Breedlove.
And it might be about that time.
As Mr. Pate converts his spare, we move back to the powerhouse that is Matt Hibbard. His home house, Jays Lanes, 1 300 game for Mr. Hibbard here. Again, the Hibbard family, another great bowling dynasty. Coach Hibbard in Guanago, Billy Hibbard, Matt Hibbard here, all powerhouse players.
Well, I'll tell you this, it is shocking to me with that amount of power that he only has 1 300 game. Right. You would think that he would bust up quite a bit. However, still in the development stage, you know.
Right.
College is certainly, you know, where you start learning your bearings. And
sure, your restrictions, you're trying to find that balance of being not a out of control and wild youth, wild youths. But, you know, you have to harness that energy. You need to stay not complacent, but even keeled throughout a match here if you want to get anywhere. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil. Here we go.
It's a fine game that people play all the time is how much power can I get and still be accurate? And many times when you're younger, you don't care about accuracy.
Right.
You just want to see the pins flying all over the place, and you want to catch it harder than anybody else. It's become a game of power.
When you're bowling for titles, scholarship money, championships, completely different game. You got to factor it all in. Man.
I think he went with a little more ball speed there, too. I think he heard us. And still couldn't get it back to the 1-3 properly, leaving the 4-pin.
When Matt's not bowling, he's bowling. Also, computer coding, some fantasy football. Most of the time out here on the lanes, though. That entire Hibbard family.
All right, covers that with no problem.
You know, to bounce back from a errant shot or a miss like that, it could easily, mentally, you could get yourself out of the game, right? You want to stay even keeled.
Absolutely. The key is don't let one bad shot turn into 3.
Right.
It's very easy to do, especially when you're younger.
And speaking from experience, I'm sure that's, you know, for sure for me, and even you at a professional level.
Absolutely.
Josh Pate. Oh, got hung up out there in the out of bounds. He's in a world of hurt.
I got to speak to all the players before they bowled this morning, and the key thing that I spoke about was managing your expectations. Right?
Yeah, something very difficult to do.
It's very difficult to do, but especially at a young age, and it's something that you have to work at. And the more you work at it, and especially at their age, if you can make that a part of you and your routine, it's going to make life a lot easier moving forward.
Right, right. As is in bowling, is in life.
Absolutely.
Learn a lot out here.
The minute you stop learning in this sport, even at the highest levels, is the minute you're 5 steps behind in the game.
Yep.
It just is what it is.
Well, even you, Rhino, to a point, realized, hey, you know, the young kids are coming. I got to start working out. I got to, you know, throw out what I knew in my game and reinvent myself. And you did. And you did. And it paid off this past year with the U.S. Open Championship. So kudos to you on all that hard work. It can be done.
I appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, the work's not done yet. Like I said, I'm going to see my coach on Wednesday, and we're going to make some more changes.
See? That's the great attitude and mentality to have. And any young bowlers or collegiate bowlers that are watching this, that's the mindset you have to have out here on the lanes if you want to be successful.
And part of that managing of your expectations, that's where it flows into, because when you win the U.S. Open, it's very easy for you to think, well, I'm there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to do anything else.
I don't need to work any harder.
Yep.
And my coach has always been a big proponent of every title you win, you have to work even harder to win your next one. Yeah. Because people watch that and they see that, and that inspires them and that motivates them. And so you better believe they're going to bring the heat even harder the next time.
The target is on your back, no doubt.
And then there's always this one other guy named Jason Belmonte that, I mean, to beat him in a major now, it feels like, you know, conquering, you know, the world.
Right, to the David versus Goliath, if you will.
Yeah. Incredible what Jason Belmonte has done to this industry. You see many more two-handers now.
Yeah.
Just awesome. It's cool. I wish I could do it, actually. I tried to do it last night in the Celebrity Pro-Am. They laughed pretty hard there. That's about it.
It's a whole different style. You got to work different parts of your body. It's taxing.
You see Matt going high again. I think he's got to get out of this ball. I think he's got to go one more ball down, because he's just not able to get it past 30 feet without the ball wanting to change directions, even with that ball speed.
Throwing the paradox black.
Either that, or he's going to have to go in the air a little bit.
Start getting lofty with it. Yeah. Oh, we're running out of lanes. Like you said, 19 games, 40 minutes of practice here, and then we bring up the bowlers with the biggest rep rate. So even more of a challenge here.
Yeah, and one thing to mention, remember, we've had 3 left-handers today, all throwing Doler urethane balls. Yeah. A couple of them right off that left corner. So.
All right, Matt Hibbert wraps up his 6th frame. We'll take a quick break. More of the Collegiate Boys Championship here as the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament continues at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Back to it here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, the Collegiate Boys Championship in the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. This year's field had to be expanded out to another house here in Sheboygan, so Lakeshore Lanes. An events for the high school bowlers, and then the collegiate bowlers out at Maple Lanes just down the street here. So ever had to go through anything like that? Qualify in one house, championship in another house?
Actually, anytime you've ever bowled an arena final.
Hello.
A couple times in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma for me was the hardest because it was one of the few times. Normally we bowl on Brunswick Pro-Am for most of our tournaments, and it was one of the few times where we went from Brunswick Pro-Am to AMF SPL.
Oh boy!
And so you saw a lot more friction, and it was really hard to figure out how to prepare my stuff.
From house to house.
From house to house. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, sometimes, you know, we have the luxury on tour at least to drill a couple bowling balls, and that would be the times that I actually drilled more balls for the show than any other time.
Wow, just
because
have options.
Anticipate. Yeah. In fact, my first arena show also back in 07, and we bowled on HPL the whole week, and then went to the arena final with Pro-Am, so it was the exact opposite.
Oh gosh.
and an all-lefty show.
Oh, gosh, even more so. And a nice break for Mr. Pate here. Some trips out to 6.
This is one of those times in the day where it's easy for us sitting here because we've watched the lanes break down. We've seen the differences between the two, and these guys are coming in fresh. They haven't bowled all day in this center.
Right.
And so they don't have the data that we do, and you can see them continue to battle it as the players did in previous matches.
Even again here to this championship match. Transition a big factor. Pate patting himself on the back, converting to 7-pin. Still a pretty close match here into the 7th frame.
It looks like here comes the ball change. Oh boy.
Kept sailing. Never grabbed.
That thing got through the front okay, but never slowed down. That's a combination of ball speed as well as, again, we're talking about the right lane. And so moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see his adjustment on the left lane. Does he go back to the other ball, or does he stick with that one on the lane with some more friction?
Or do you get softer on one lane versus the other?
Absolutely.
Maybe that could work out here for Matt Hibbert.
But that is a nice break. And I know he made that, folks, but this is a prime example of why I always teach shoot straight at your spares, because it takes the lane out of play.
Sure, yeah.
And, you know, if you only have one board of room with your strike ball, well, if you try to hook at it, at a spare, you only have one board of room with your strike ball.
Yep. Nice to have a polyester or plastic ball in your arsenal for spares.
Absolutely, and that ball was the right ball. Everything about that was perfect for that left lane. Let's see if he can make the adjustment on the right lane.
No doubter for Matt Hibbert out of Mukwonago, Wisconsin. His high series in 8:14. Hello to mom, dad, brother, grandma, auntie, Chad Source, the crew at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Over to Minnesota's Josh Pate. He's been having trouble on this left lane. Not anymore.
Good shot that was. A little
Smooth.
softer with the speed. That ball read the mid lane exactly the way he needed it to. Now can he go, all right, I got to amp it up on this lane. I got to make the move in and amp it up a little bit. This is the tough part. You know, we can see it, and even as a player, I'm sure he sees it, but trusting it. And in this moment where he needs this strike is the toughest thing in sports for anyone.
You're saying amping up. The littlest, like too much, can be dangerous where you have to, like you were telling the kids early this morning, manage your expectations.
Foundation frame. Great pitch there. Unfortunately not able to get the 10-pin out. And folks, I hate to say it, but I don't care who you are, you're going to leave 10 pins the rest of your life. It's just part of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to go with the flow and just make your spare.
Right. You know, you can make strikes all day. The importance of spares can make or break. It can get you a title match, can get you second place.
Oh, no.
Speak of the devil. In a foundation frame as well, opening the door for Matt Hibbert of Mukwonago.
And with that open frame, he can only strike out for 170. Matt is pacing 181.
But he's got the right lane to deal with here.
Got to get the right lane first. He's going to stick with this ball. And you can see he kept that in. Perfect.
I thought that was a little speedy. Wow.
Well, he definitely changed his angle a lot on that shot. I actually thought it was a little too far in, but he must have tightened his angles up and went with a little more speed. Just take that out of bounds, out of playing a great shot.
Great bowlers find a way.
Fun to watch those messengers fly like that, too. I'm kind of a little jealous, you know. If that's a definition of a messenger, I have never seen one. And the victory lap.
Absolutely.
Josh is going to go ahead and finish up here.
Josh would like to say hello and give a shout out to his bowling buddy. His bowling buddy, Dave Egger. What's up, Dave? And a big thank you to Keith Yonan for running this great tournament in its 13th season here in Sheboygan, the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. You can find all kinds of information online. Get ready for next year. Search Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament for more information. Runs it out to the trophy, not wasting any time. McGuanago's Matt Hibbert, victorious here in the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. As we watch Mr. Pate, Josh Pate, part of that Pate bowling dynasty, wrap up his game here. 210 to 159. We'll wrap it up here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan next year. You are watching Spectrum Sports.
Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com.
Van McNeil coming to you from Lakeshore Lanes here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, wrapping up the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament. Tournament Director Keith Yonan, another great showing of support this year.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't ask for anything better this year.
Over 157 bowlers,
157
right?
bowlers, yes.
And we had to grow into another house, Maple Lanes, partnering with us to accommodate all of our bowlers.
Absolutely. We couldn't fit everybody in here. Bill's got to put 12 more lanes in.
And then we bring in professional Rhino Page. We have a different celebrity bowler here. What's your experience this weekend? We had a ton of fun with you.
Oh, it was absolutely phenomenal. You know, the Celebrity Pro-Am last night was second to none. I never had so much fun in my life. In fact, it was the most excited I had been to throw a bowling ball since U.S. Open show.
Right, and then to talk to the kids, the youth of our sport here, and inspiring them. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, 30 years of bowling is a journey, and there's a lot of bumps along the way. And to be able to give them some advice on some things that I really have learned, and unfortunately the hard way from some of them,
right.
But to maybe be able to help out a couple of them with my words, it was just a pleasure.
It's great to share those stories, that experience, and make these youth better bowlers. So thank you for coming out.
Oh, my pleasure.
Absolutely. So Keith, next year, if people wanted to get involved, I know people are chomping at the bit already. How do we get involved?
Well, we have our Facebook page. We're working on getting a web page eventually. You know, it's been 13 years, but hey, contact me anytime. We'll get you in.
Now, as far as next year, we're probably going to be in two houses again here at Lakeshore, and then again over at Maple.
Absolutely.
If we continue to grow here.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're not sure about the other house down the street, but we have another place we can go. We'll figure it out.
All right, we will figure it out here as we wrap it up from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. Rhino Page, thanks for the time. Keith, thank you for doing what you do. And, of course, we remember Sean, and
yes,
this is all for him. So for the entire crew here at Lakeshore Lanes, from the pin setters, the mechanics, all the entire staff here, my name is Van McNeil. You've been watching the 13th annual Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. Thanks for watching, everyone.